Hi, yes, hello. Welcome to another video. Starting this day off with a nice matcha latte. But yeah, in this video, we're gonna be doing some tidying around the apartment. It's definitely like a crossover between like a homebody series and definitely some artistry, because there will be a lot of watercolor painting in this, just forewarning. But yeah, I've realized that with my ADHD, recording myself with a time lapse just helps me clean better. I don't know if it's the body doubling aspect of it, or just for some reason, when I look through the lens of my camera on my phone, I can see the mess more. But yeah, wanted to take a chance to clean my kitchen and thought, you know, this is probably satisfying to someone to look at. I know I like watching cleaning videos, and who doesn't love a good before and after? Can't tell you the last time I wiped my counters and the cabinet doors, and probably haven't mopped in a good month. But yeah, it felt good to do that, and definitely had to water some plants. But yeah, I've had this banana leaf? No, this isn't a banana leaf. It's a bird of paradise. And I'm really shocked that it's surviving here in Chicago. I've had it since I moved here, like a year and a half now. Is it growing? Who knows? This little guy propped up some new leaves. So that was really cute. It had like 2 leaves and now it has 7. Quickly, just another like montage of me cleaning my living room. I'm really good at making messes, not so good at cleaning them. But I was talking to my therapist about how recording myself does actually help me clean. So here we are, sharing another hopefully satisfying video. And here we are starting with our sketch. So I have this watercolor paper that I'm not a fan of, but I couldn't just not use it. And so I thought, you know, why don't I just use it for sketches? Make it be like low pressure, no big deal, whatever. Oh, just a forewarning for the rest of this video. For some weird reason, the colors did not transfer over correctly onto CapCut when I was editing this video. And everything just looks overly saturated and the contrast looks crazy. So unfortunately, you don't get to see the detail as much. Hopefully, I'll get to fix some of the colors and contrast post-editing. But yeah, just if it looks a little crazy, that's why. The paintings do look a little bit better in person. But yeah, I have been wanting to do a Q&A. I always thought that would be a fun video, and I don't really necessarily have the audience to send over some questions, and I still wanted to find a way to showcase my personality or just share parts of myself with you. I love getting personal with people. I like asking a bajillion questions, and yeah, I like learning more about people, getting to know details or fun facts about them that, you know, maybe not everybody knows. Starting off with the first question, who are you and what kind of art do you create? I'm Jessica. I'm 31 years old. I am a bartender after getting laid off from my recruiting job back in summer of 2023. Prior to that, I was also in the restaurant industry for like 8 years though, so it's not new for me. But I'm living in Chicago. I've probably lived in Chicago for almost 2 years now, but prior to that, I'd always lived in Dallas. So I was in Dallas for literally like 29 years. But I was living amongst people that did not necessarily align with my values. Definitely don't fit in a red state, let's just put it that way. But that's what ultimately kind of drove me to leave. And the type of art I create is mostly digital through Procreate, with my iPad, and I occasionally paint with watercolor. Alrighty, next question. How did you first get into art and what made you stick with it? So the first time I actually drew something on paper was high school. I think I must have been like 14 or 15 years old. I was actually put into ISS, if you are not aware of what that is in-school suspension, for having blue hair dye in my hair, which is, looking back on it, incredibly ridiculous. So I got in trouble essentially for being out of dress code. Yep, your girl was a fiend. No, not really, just kidding. But when I was in ISS, I had nothing to do in that room all day, so I just, randomly started making doodles on the notebook that I had. And then kind of just blossomed into where I'm at now. Alrighty, next question. What artists influence your work? For me, as far as classic art, I guess, Henri Rousseau for sure. I actually recently learned that he was not formally trained and was kind of in the naive movement, I think is what it's called, where it's essentially without formal training, which I think is kind of hilarious because his art is awesome. And to call it naive sounds a little ridiculous. David Hockney is definitely a huge influence on my art. I love his colors and the way that he paints and the style. I actually talked about him on my last video if you guys saw that. Edward Hopper is another one of my favorite artists, American artists. I like the way that he paints, but then also like the emotions that his paintings evoke. There's like a hint of like eeriness to it that I really like. And just like a lot of like 20th century modern art, sometimes like surrealist work, or just like the colorful illustrative type of work as well. But as far as like modern day artists, I really don't remember a lot of their names. I more so know them of their art, but a couple of people that come to mind is Audra Claire. That's a little, I've never had to say that out loud. But I actually have been a fan of hers for, I don't know, like almost 10 years now. I've bought some of her prints, and I just love how like whimsical and how dreamy and like how abstract she can make her art look. It's really pretty. And then Uli Chen from Taiwan, like those watercolor pieces are just goals. They look so freaking cool. Haley Maurice is another artist that I saw, which is really cool to see. There are just so many artists right now that are just so freaking amazing that I literally cannot even put together a list. That's just endless. What is your favorite medium to work with and why? Honestly, probably digital, because it is so ADHD friendly, and because I love precision and detail so much. It really lets me get in there and just like add all the details that I want. I'd say my favorite medium to look at and work with as far as like a physical form is watercolor. I'd love to learn more about gouache, but to be honest, like opaque mediums are just annoying for me to work with. I hate to say that. But I don't like working with like a sticky or goopy texture. It's just hard for me to manipulate on like the paper or the canvas. I'm definitely envious of artists that are capable of, using oil or acrylics and things like that. It's always been really cool to see. Do you have a favorite project or piece you have created? This painting I did, I think 7 or 8 years ago. It's my peonies. My peonies with the black background. I think with that piece was when I really felt like an artist, and when I posted that painting, I got such amazing feedback, and it felt so good to just be celebrated for making artwork that just felt like it felt so me. But yeah, I think that was the first time where I just I was like, dang, you got something, kid. Next question is, what is the biggest challenge you have faced as an artist? I'd probably say trying to balance my mental health with creating art / learning. ADHD makes it hard to start and finish tasks, obviously. And a lot of the time, I feel like I'm stuck in executive dysfunction. Sometimes I have such brain fog or fatigue that I can't execute what it is that I want. I feel like I have very ambitious goals, but the execution is where I struggle for sure. And next question is, what inspired you to launch your art shop? Some of my favorite places to go are like gift shops or museums. I love kind of getting lost in admiration when looking at someone else's art. I feel a lot of passion when it comes to my own artwork, and there's no better feeling than when I finally finish a piece and someone asks if I sell prints. What's your vision for your art shop in the future? I'd eventually love to be able to support myself full time with my art career. But my ultimate dream is to definitely connect more with like the community and my friends. I'd love to run workshops like an intro to watercolor class or candle making for beginners. And I'd love to eventually like collab with local artists on projects and maybe even host like art markets. But it'd be really cool to run a shop. I think it'd be cool to have like a co-working space in that shop, but to also have like local artists like work or prints or artwork for sale, and some plants, of course. I've done a lot of like different hobbies and side hustles, and I really wanted to open a plant shop, but never got to do that, obviously. And I think it'd be cool to have like an art shop that included some plants. Oh, and then I think it'd be cool to have my artwork, local artists' artwork, plants, and then, of course, candles. I miss making candles so much. A lot of you probably don't know, and obviously if you don't know me, you don't know, but I used to make candles, and I'm going to be honest, like, when I got pretty decent at it, or like, I'll be honest, when I got some experience doing it, like, my candles got good, and man, what I would do for one of my candles right now. But yeah, it was so therapeutic making candles, and just hearing people's feedback and them liking the candles is always super rewarding. What's a random memory that always inspires your creativity? My mom. I think that we all know we definitely have to channel our inner child in some way or another when it comes to art. And one of my earliest memories was doing crafts with my mom. I also remember going through her sketchbook and thinking it was like the coolest thing ever. And I must have been like 5 years old, 6 years old. And although my mom hasn't really sketched since then, she's always creating something, whether that be like jewelry, different crafts, sewing. Now she makes doll furniture, and every piece is handmade, and it's so beautiful. And she runs a shop on Etsy, and her pictures look like freaking interior design magazines. They're so cool. What's your most controversial art opinion? My answer is definitely going to ruffle some feathers. Hyperrealism is not art. Yeah, I said it. But yeah, it's not art. It's definitely more so of a skill and technique. I'm not going to say that these people aren't talented, but you're essentially just copying exactly what you see. It only requires like 1% of creativity, and that part is just deciding on what photo you're going to replicate. It's kind of like following a recipe word for word. You're executing the act, but you aren't actually practicing creativity. Oh, moving on to YouTube. What made you finally start your YouTube channel? Dang, yeah. It's something I've thought of for a while, even like years back. But after I decided to take my art seriously last year, I knew that YouTube was the next step. I personally am a huge YouTube watcher. I just really appreciate the platform and always wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to kind of show a new perspective, I guess, maybe. Hopefully that's the goal. But as someone that deals with like a host of mental health issues, I'm a homebody and somebody living in her 30s, living alone. I wanted to be a person that people could find relatable. What's been the most unexpectedly hard part of making videos? Like definitely the content, because what do I even film? How do I put together a beginning, a middle, and an end? Trying to figure out what could even be interesting to an audience. Figure out what to talk about without continuously rambling. But also still trying to figure out how to embody like authenticity, showing the behind the scenes, practicing or finding ways to be, or still finding ways to be relatable and, add a touch of humor and, my innate chaos, of course. But my goal is that, I want my viewers to feel comforted, when watching and maybe even inspired. Let's see. Where do you see your art career in 5 years? Hopefully supporting myself full-time with my art. I'd love to have a studio to create, to have a place to make content. I'd love to have a space to make candles again. It'd be cool to have a space to invite like my friends and local artists to hang and just kind of build a community that way. What's one dream project you'd love to create someday? Just thinking quickly, I would say painting on a larger scale. Painting larger pieces like 20 by 30 inches and eventually make like huge pieces like 5 by feet. Oh my god. I'd love to paint on a larger scale, larger pieces like 20 by 30 inches, and eventually I'd love to do 6 by 8 feet canvases. Don't know what I would paint, but it'd definitely be like world building or the interior of a room or someone's home. It'd definitely be like immersive. I'd want it to feel like a place you could imagine yourself visiting. Okay, are you a coffee or tea person? Both. I am totally both. I need my coffee to wake me up in the mornings. I struggle to wake up, not just getting out of bed, but being fully there mentally. But then I like to have my tea in the afternoon or nighttime to ground me. I feel like tea has so much more versatility, and it's so fun with all the flavors. What is your guilty pleasure? Next we have, what is your guilty pleasure food? Essentially any pastry accompanied with coffee or tea. Yeah, that's like comfort level 1,000. Or left field, a McDouble from McDonald's and their french fries. But those are the only things I order from there. Exception being their breakfast. Their breakfast is, in my humble opinion, pretty fire. But also, before you judge me, just know that that judgment is low-key a privileged take. Shots fired. But no, like, fast food for me was a luxury growing up. I don't even think my family ever sat down at a restaurant that had like an actual server or someone you had to tip. Like for us, like if we got fast food, it meant like we were in a safe place in our lives. Like it meant that bills were paid and, we finally had an extra $20 to, buy Wendy's or whatever. What's one simple thing that instantly makes your day better? Definitely the sun. And I know some days the sun does not come out, which is tragic, and I'm not being dramatic, but maybe I am. And just anything that can make me laugh, or just like humor in general, definitely takes my and anything that just like makes me laugh. Humor is something I definitely value. Helps me just take myself out of my head for, a split moment. Alrighty, so moving on to fun and random questions. What is your go-to karaoke song? Yuck. This is controversial, but Pedro Pascal could not have said it better. I hate karaoke. It's cringe. Sorry. What's a movie or a TV show you can watch over and over and over? New Girl. Immediately New Girl. I've probably seen that series at least 5 times from beginning to end. Bob's Burgers. She's nice and quirky. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Let's see. And The Good Place. Good Place is a good one. That show, I didn't like it at first, and then I gave it a second chance, and I was like, this show is amazing. What's your favorite season and why? Definitely like late spring, early summer. That's when you start getting the longer days and more time with the sun. I definitely still like summer. So maybe like all of summer, especially in Chicago. Like summer it's great here. But yeah, more time with the sun. I am most definitely a plant. I need the sun to survive. Yep. What's your favorite holiday and how do you like to celebrate it? Definitely, although like, I feel like every holiday is just rooted with evil. But Thanksgiving is definitely one of my favorite holidays. I feel like there's no pressure. You don't have to like buy anybody a gift, and you're just there to celebrate each other, especially like Friendsgiving for me. As someone who was basically adopted by like my best friend's family my senior year in high school, my friends definitely became my family. So any holiday that is more friend focused is going to be more of my favorite holidays. If you could only eat one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be? Easily Thai or Vietnamese food. I'm sorry, I'm Mexican and I should love Mexican food, but I mean, it's okay. But I honestly, I'm always in the mood for Vietnamese or Thai. What's a book or movie or show that deeply impacted you? If I go into books, that's going to take me way too long to figure out an answer because there are so many. But as far as like movies go, definitely 2 movies that just really speak out to me. Punch Drunk Love. It feels so dreamlike. That stars Adam Sandler. It's like one of his roles where it's definitely like left field for him, where it's more of a serious role and it's not based in cheesy comedy. But the movie itself and his character, it's just so incredibly relatable. Like I feel like I am Barry, the character from Punch Drunk Love. And I feel like if you're somebody who's dealt with anxiety or depression or felt existential dread, I feel like you definitely connect with this movie and his character. Next movie is Mary and Max. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of myself in these characters. With Mary, I felt and understood the neglect that she experienced in her childhood and how that trauma was carried into her adulthood. And with Max and his experience with autism. And although I do not have autism, my CPTSD definitely mimics a lot of the same symptoms and experiences. When I saw Max's struggles represented, it just like broke my heart into a million pieces. I've spent a lot of my life isolated and hyper independent and felt like an outsider, like both of these characters. But it was just so nice to watch these movies, tackling heavy subjects, yet approach them with charm and wholesome moments and some humor as well. And they're quirky as hell, as some would describe me. But yeah, I definitely felt like these movies made such a huge, they definitely had like a huge impact and like a message behind them, you know? It wasn't, yeah, I don't know. But these movies were really, really great. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I want to add. This space and I realized I don't love it. So I'm gonna try to rearrange it. I was thinking about my sister's art and how it's too far away from me to just really look at it and see it. So I think I want to move it over here where it's closer to me and then move the bigger posters over there. So let's see how that goes. So maybe it's not an accurate depiction, but I don't hate it. When I'm sitting here, yeah, I guess it doesn't look too bad. And then with this area behind the printer, I can just figure out smaller prints to put up there and see what I want to add. But sadly, it is getting rather dark. It's almost 4 p.m. I really don't know what else to say. I'm hopeful for better things. A couple of words or phrases that I'm hanging on to for this month, or just like the next couple of months, honestly, is just delulu, or delusional. Just being delusional enough to think that, or just like being delusional enough to believe that I can make it. And I know that's kind of weird, but like, I don't know, for me it's like I could never be an artist. Like there's no way I could be followed on YouTube or Instagram and have a fan base, or be an artist full time, or have a studio and, you know, achieve all the goals and dreams that I want to achieve. But this is when the delulu part comes in. It's like, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to be delulu enough to think that that's actually going to happen for me. So yeah, so that's the delusional part of it. And then the other part is try again. I'm really good at giving up, very good at giving up, but I've also learned I'm really good at trying again. So although like I may give up all the time, I will get back and try again. And there's no real term or word for that. I've been trying to figure that out. And it's not like persistence or like ambitious, because those are different. So yeah, try again. Or it's kind of just like getting back up on the horse. And I'm really good at doing that. So try again is one of the other phrases. And then, the other one is permission. I need to give myself permission to just enjoy life. Like just be happy, or just allow myself to find happy moments, or just joyous moments, or just give myself permission to laugh, or to take care of myself, or give myself permission to relax, to love myself, things like that, to paint like a little kid, or, you know, not be so perfectionist and stuck in this like adult strict mode. Sometimes I never really understood, like, when people say like don't take yourself too seriously. Like, this is there are definitely too many moments where I take myself seriously, and I have to remind myself, like, you know, you're allowed to enjoy your life. So yeah, that's definitely the other weird. I'd love to know, like, what kind of drives you, if you've, you know, made it this far in the video. What are some words or terms that help move you forward? But anyways, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.